Today on StockCharts In Focus, we're getting after it with all the different ways to view multiple charts at once on your screen around stock charts. Of course, in stock chart speak, that means that we're looking at CandleGlance, a staple of our original SharpCharts tool, but also something that you can now do in ACP, our new interactive advanced charting platform. Combining multi-chart layout capabilities with the CandleGlance concept is a very, very powerful way to view multiple charts on your screen at once. So on today's show, we're going to spend a lot of time digging into SharpCharts, then we're going to jump over to ACP, show you all the different ways around stock charts to view multiple charts at once. Lots to cover, lots to show. Of course, you know what it is. It's all new. It's all here. It's StockCharts In Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me here for another episode of StockCharts In Focus. Of course, our product focus show on the channel where we dig into the site, dive into the tools, show you around the features, show you how to get more out of the StockCharts platform. Every little corner of it, every little detail. Of course, we're always showing you tips, tricks, shortcuts, lots of good stuff. If there is anything that you don't know about StockCharts, this is where we cover it on the channel. This is where we show you how to get the most value out of the site that you possibly can. My name is Grayson Roze. I'm the Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts, and it is a thrill to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, I am really excited to dig into all the different ways that we have around the site to view multiple charts at once. A very, very important part of StockCharts with our CandleGlance tool, something that we've had on SharpCharts for a very, very long time, one of the most beloved features of the site, really, and something that now we've also brought over to ACP, to our interactive advanced charting platform. So we got a lot to cover on today's show. Before we jump into it, I do want to remind everyone that we do this show every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on StockCharts TV, also up on our on-demand platform after that. StockChartsTV.com is where you can find that on-demand platform. And, of course, up on our YouTube channel as well. So lots of ways to watch. But again, if you are using StockCharts and you want to get more value out of the site, maximize your membership, maximize your charts and everything that you have available to you, this is the show to watch every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So join me on Fridays for more StockCharts In Focus. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive in because we got a ton to cover on today's show. It's going to be a fun one. So we are going to kick off today's episode by starting from the Charts and Tools page. I mentioned this a lot on the show. You can get here by clicking the Charts and Tools link at the top left corner of any page around the site. But a beautiful directory of everything that is here, whether you're a member, whether you're using the site for free. A lot of the tools and features that we have around the site are all available here with brief little descriptions of what the tool does. So a great page, no matter who you are, a great directory of everything that's there. And most importantly, it provides quick and easy access to all of the different tools around the site. Now, we've been digging into a lot of these primary charting tools on recent episodes of the show. I did want to mention before we get going that last week, what we covered was our gallery view tool. Now, gallery view allows you to view multiple charts up on the screen, similar to CandleGlance, but for the same symbol across multiple different time frames. So we showed off a lot of the features of that gallery view tool in SharpCharts and ACP on last week's episode. The concepts are very, very similar. So I would like to encourage you, if you didn't catch last week's episode, go back, take a look at that. A lot of the concepts that we're going to talk about today, specifically things like how to customize your gallery view charts, how to get over to your chart lists and view gallery view in your chart lists. A lot of those concepts are very, very similar to what we're going to talk about today with CandleGlance. So go back, take a look at last week's episode. I think that'll be full of some tips and tricks that you get a lot out of. Today, though, what we're talking about is CandleGlance. Now, CandleGlance, like I mentioned at the start of the show, one of our original, most beloved tools on the site, allows you to view 12 mini charts side by side on your screen at once. You got a couple of different ways for getting to this tool. You can use this box right here to type in up to 12 ticker symbols separated by commas. You can also come up to the top of any page around the site, though, open up this little menu here, select CandleGlance, and type in a list of ticker symbols. So anything that you want to type in here, just separate it by commas, type in that list of ticker symbols, make sure you got CandleGlance selected, and you'll be off to the races. Now, the other option that you do have, though, is predefined groups. So when you open up this little menu, we've created a whole bunch of predefined groups for you, common collections of symbols that people like to view. Classic stuff like the major US indexes, the S&P sector ETFs, Dow stocks is one that I pull up in CandleGlance quite a lot. And then down below that, you can see we have a ton of these. We also have major industry groups. You can pull up the components of a lot of those major industry groups. Today, we're actually going to do the Dow stocks group. And one of the interesting little tricks is that when you create your own custom CandleGlance groups using the standalone tool, you can create up to 12 mini charts side by side. Some of these predefined groups, though, have a lot more than 12, so you actually get the full list. So for instance, the Dow stocks, you've got 30 components there. When you give this a click, we've got much more than 12 charts up on the screen at once. But here is CandleGlance. The concept is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You've got all of these different mini charts on the screen at once. So you can see all of these different symbols side by side. It really is intended to be kind of a quick glance at the chart. It's not a full featured chart. It's not all the indicators that you might want to zoom into and look at for an individual symbol. CandleGlance is really intended to give you kind of that high level overview of price direction, maybe what a couple of indicators are doing. You can click on any of these charts, though, to launch over to the SharpCharts workbench. So when you click on one of these, you'll be sent over to the SharpCharts workbench. You'll get that full featured chart. So let's say you really liked what's happening with JP Morgan. You want to actually sort of zoom into that one. You just give that chart a click here in CandleGlance. That'll send you right over to the SharpCharts workbench. I'm not going to do that now because it'll kick us off of CandleGlance. We want to stay focused on this page right here. A couple of different options, though, on this page. You do also have a little trash can, so if you wanted to remove anything in just a single click from the group that you've pulled up, you can always hit that little trash can icon, and that'll take it right out of the group, take that chart out of the group that you're looking at. So nice and easy there. Up at the top of the page, again, you've got that comma-separated list. In this case, you can see we filled that in for you with all of the Dow stocks. You also have access to that predefined groups list right here as well. So if you want to pull up any of the other predefined groups, you've got that for you there. Now, my CandleGlance charts might look a little bit different from what you're seeing if you're following along and charting this on your own. You can see that here in the period menu, I've actually got something funky selected called custom style. So similar to what we showed last week on last week's show with how to customize your gallery view charts, you can do a very, very similar thing here in CandleGlance. We have a little SharpCharts trick that allows you to actually customize what your CandleGlance charts look like. I will point out at the top of this page here, we've got a little note, StockCharts members, customize your CandleGlance charts, learn more. When you give that a click, this little pop-up shows up. That gives you the quick rundown. Now, like I said, we went through all of these instructions actually on last week's episode, so in case you caught that, I don't want to bore you with all the details, but you do have a little pop-up there to remind you how to create these. All you've got to do is go over to the SharpCharts workbench, save a chart style from SharpCharts called CandleGlance. You can see that here. If you save a chart style from your SharpCharts workbench with the name CandleGlance, we will automatically pull that in. So that's what I've done here. In my case, I've set up my CandleGlance charts with a price relative line here up at the top. This is the symbol versus VTI, the Vanguard Total Market Index. I want to find things that are outperforming the market. So at a quick glance, I can see, is this stock outperforming the market or is it underperforming the market? Then in the little price panel here, I've got three basic moving averages. I've got the 50-day in red, the 200-day in green, and then I have a very long-term 400 period moving average as that little dashed purple line. So I've customized my CandleGlance charts with that. But yours might be different. You might want another collection of indicators, different moving averages. You might want OHLC bars instead of candlesticks, or you might want a solid line. Anything that you can do with the SharpCharts workbench, anything that you can customize over there, save that to a custom chart style called CandleGlance, and that will automatically get pulled into this page. Now at the top though, you do have a couple of different options here. If you want to get off of your custom style, you've got some options for different periods. So 2 days, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, and different P&F charts as well. And if you pull up any of those, let's say we did a 6-month chart, this is going to go back to sort of the StockCharts default that we've created in CandleGlance for you. So if you haven't saved one of those custom styles, this is what you're going to be seeing. You do have the option though to add an indicator right from here. If you want to add an indicator to all of these charts, you can do that really easily. Let's say you wanted to add the RSI. We want to keep that as a 14 period. So I add that indicator right there, hit update, and now I'm going to get that 14 period RSI on all of these CandleGlance charts as well. So it is kind of nice to have your custom style. I personally like to have my custom style, but then to also have the option to come over to some of these standard periods and add a custom indicator if I want to add something to my charts. For instance, this is actually something that I do a lot. I come and pull up a 6-month chart and add the RSI, hit update, so I can kind of bounce back and forth between this custom style and then the other custom style that I typically use that I've saved on my own. So that is pretty much it. From here, you're just breezing through all these charts. You get to see everything. We do have a little note here at the bottom for the default ones. These are what those moving averages are. They're both simple moving averages. The blue is a 20 period and the red is a 50 period. But of course, if you customize CandleGlance with your own style, you will be able to put anything that you want on there. So that is the standalone style. I will show you really quickly. I'm going to flip back over to custom style. I want to show you how to customize these because it's pretty easy. Again, we did sort of a deep dive on this on last week's episode with gallery view, but I'm going to give this a click. Now I've headed over to the SharpCharts workbench. And when I open this menu up on the left, you can see all of my different saved chart styles. What I mean by save a chart style that's got your indicators and customize the name of it to be CandleGlance, this is what I've done. So I've customized all of the different indicators from the SharpCharts workbench, set this up exactly how I want it. Again, my 50, 200, and 400 period moving averages, and then my price performance line with the symbol relative to VTI. All I've done is set that up. I've made it a nice small size because we are going to crunch that size down. So I want to see this, in this case, in 460. I could make this even smaller. I actually set it as 360 to kind of get a sense of what that CandleGlance chart is going to look like. So I've customized this chart, and then all I've done is I've come here, you can hit add new and save that chart style as CandleGlance. Now, in my case, obviously I've already done that. So I have that CandleGlance style available to me. There it is in that menu. This is what mine looks like. But all you've got to do to set this up is come over to the SharpCharts workbench, create your chart, and save that chart style with the name CandleGlance. That will automatically get pulled in anytime you're viewing those CandleGlance charts in the SharpCharts world. So this applies also not just to the standalone CandleGlance tool that you have access to, but also if you're a StockCharts member, you can view CandleGlance for all of your different chart lists. So we're going to jump over and take a look at that now. I'm going to head over to the dashboard, the first page that you see when you log into StockCharts. I like to call this the heart and soul of StockCharts, as many of you know. Tons and tons to see here. We've actually done a whole episode of StockCharts In Focus on how to customize this page, so you can go back and find that. But we're going to scroll down to my chart lists, and I'm actually going to pull up a chart list that I have that I fill every day. Every day after the close, I run a scan for stocks in the S&P 1500 that are making a new 52-week high. I run that scan after the close every day, and I put the results into this same list. I actually merge them into here or replace the chart list with those results every day. So every day what I end up with is a list of all the stocks in the S&P 1500 that have made a new 52-week high. Now, in a lot of the cases, this is a big list of stocks. So we can actually see this at the bottom. We've got a ton of charts in here. If I scroll all the way to the bottom, though, of the summary view, you can see there are 244 stocks in this list. So a big list of things in the S&P 1500 making a new 52-week high. I don't have the time to go through and click through 244 charts every day after the close and see every single one in sort of a full featured view. So what I personally like to do is come over to this View List As menu, come over to CandleGlance, and what this allows me to do is now view CandleGlance for this chart list. So here's the chart list that we're looking at. Again, that new 52-week highs in the S&P 1500. I've selected CandleGlance as the view. And now, very similar to the standalone CandleGlance page that we were just looking at, I've got all of those 244 stocks in this list in CandleGlance. You can see again, these get loaded with my custom style. So I've got that available to me here. If I did want to change that though, I've got those same menus up here. I can change to maybe that 6-month chart, add the RSI like we did before. In this case though, I'm going to leave this on the custom style because this is what I like to do every day after the close. I can breeze through all of these, just kind of run through the charts, see what's moving, see what catches my eye in that kind of quick view. For instance, yesterday I noticed that AutoNation continues to make new highs. Has really been a strong trender, and you can see that it shows up on the CandleGlance chart. In this case, we're looking at a 1-year chart. We can see how strong that trend is. We can see that it's been outperforming the market, leading higher with that price relative line continuing to move higher. So I can catch those things on the CandleGlance chart without having to go through each chart in sort of a full featured view individually. The other nice thing here is that if I wanted to delete anything from here, again, I've run a scan, I've taken those results, put them into a chart list. If I wanted to start sort of sweeping that chart list, getting the stuff that looks good to stay in it, and then kicking the stuff out that doesn't look good, I can use that little trash can icon. Let's say I didn't like, well, all of these look pretty good because they're making new 52-week highs, but let's say American Campus, I didn't like that one. All I got to do is hit delete, and that has been removed from that list. So I can start to go through these and just kind of delete the ones that don't look great, leave the ones that do look good, and that's a great way to kind of sweep a list of stocks after you run a scan. So that little trash can icon, a really nice feature of the CandleGlance view here for your chart lists. So that's pretty much it for SharpCharts. I know we ran through a lot. I know we showed you a lot. Again, go back, take a look at that gallery view episode that we did last week, because we did more of a deep dive on how to set up those charts. But hopefully this gave you a quick sense of how to create your own custom CandleGlance views. Now, we are going to jump over, though, to ACP. I'm going to head back over to the dashboard. I'm going to launch ACP from here, but of course, you do have the option to type in a ticker symbol and launch ACP from this menu. You can select it right there. In this case, though, I'm going to launch ACP. Here we go. If you're not familiar with what ACP is, if you're wondering what that stands for, ACP is our new interactive advanced charting platform. I know we've been covering this a lot on the show. We've been talking a lot about it. We now have 2 different ways to chart the markets, though. We have our original award-winning, beloved SharpCharts tool, which is not going anywhere, by the way. We love SharpCharts. We're going to continue to invest heavily in that platform, continue to make it better and better. We got SharpCharts, though, and then if you want a more interactive, dynamic, sort of full-featured charting experience, rich charting experience, we have ACP. So we have these side by side. Again, we're not going to have ACP sort of step on SharpCharts by any means. SharpCharts is not going anywhere. We want to give you as many ways to view the markets as possible. We're having a blast building this more dynamic, sort of interactive charting experience here with ACP. So if that speaks to you, if that's interesting to you, you can come over and give ACP a shot. Really choose which chart type you want. Again, we're in the business of providing as many chart types as possible, as many different charting experiences as possible. So ACP really intended to complement what we have over in SharpCharts, giving you the option to pick between them. Now, one of the things though that ACP has is the ability to create multi-chart layouts. So you can create multi-chart layouts in ACP with up to 12 charts on the screen at once. A couple of different ways to do that. You can actually come up here to the top of the screen, type in a comma-separated list of ticker symbols, for instance, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, and Netflix. Hit enter, and now you've got those 4 charts on the screen together for you to chart and analyze. You can also use this little plus icon to add another chart to the screen. So if you want to just sort of quickly add additional charts, you can always hit that plus icon. It is going to grab whatever the chart was sort of that you have active and just kind of duplicate that. So in this case, I've ended up with 3 Netflix charts, but I could go in here and very quickly change them to square. Oh, I've actually got symbol sync turned on. So you can see that that grabbed all 3 of those charts, changed the symbol. I can go in here and start to change these around. We will do Qualcomm on that one. So lots of different ways to create those layouts. But the other way that you have is to come over here to the left side of the screen, look for that little grid icon, open that up. And this gives you access to all of the different layout options. So we went over a lot of this in last week's episode, going over that gallery view feature. You can see what I had turned on there was symbol sync. I actually want to turn that off. But we've got a couple of different options for you to play with there. You've got a create layout menu option, which gives you quick access to all of the different layout options. So you select your number of charts. Let's say you wanted 12 charts up on the screen. And then we're going to show you previews of the different configurations that you can create. So for instance, if this spoke to you and you really wanted 12 of these charts on the screen up at once, you can do that quickly. They all load there in just an instant. So this gives you access to all of these different configurations. You have tons and tons to choose from. For instance, if you load 4, there are all your different 4 chart layouts for you to create. Lots and lots to play with there. Under sample layouts, though, similar to what we were looking at last week, you have gallery view, but you also have CandleGlance. So we've gone ahead to make this really easy for you. We've gone ahead and created CandleGlance as a sample layout. You can see it's actually going to end up looking pretty similar to what I got up on the screen right now. But in this case, our CandleGlance sample layout looks a little bit like this. This is just a total sample. It's intended to make it really easy for you to create one of these 12 chart CandleGlance equivalent layouts. And then you can start to fill this in with any of the ticker symbols that you want. So you go ahead, type in your ticker symbols up here, click on any of these charts to type in a ticker symbol. Let's say you wanted to change this specific chart to be, let's do Intuit. You give that a click, you'll see that it's active because it's got that little green border. Type in your ticker symbol and there you go. You can change all of these. So anything that you wanted to load into this layout, you can just type it in up here and start to flip around to different charts within this kind of CandleGlance layout. Now, one of the interesting pieces of this is we've got a couple, again, in that multi-chart settings area. We've got a chart style apply to all option and also a range apply to all option. So typically in CandleGlance, you're going to want the same chart style across all of those charts. So you're going to want any chart style that you apply to be applied to everything. You're also probably going to want all these charts to be the same range. So you've got a couple of different places to turn that on, actually, right here in that multi-chart settings, but also up in the range menu itself. You can see you have a little checkbox there for apply to all. So if you turn this off, anytime you change the range, it's only going to update the range of the active chart. If you turn this on, though, it's going to update everything. So let's say we wanted everything across this whole screen to be a 1-year chart. I've got range set to apply to all. So I give that a quick click, and now I've got 1-year charts for everything in this layout. So again, we've kind of created CandleGlance here by creating multi-chart layouts. Multi-chart layouts allow you to do a ton. You can create gallery view, you can create CandleGlance, and then of course we have tons and tons of predefined groups for you to play around with here as well in tons of different layouts. For instance, one that Dave Keller and I both really love is this new Dow Theory layout, which creates this really interesting view with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, seeing how those compare to each other. Lots of cool things to play around with in these predefined groups. But the key with CandleGlance, with this little sample layout here, is that you can start to customize this and make it your own. We really see this as a starting place for you to add your own indicators, your own number of charts, your own overlays, moving averages, color schemes, anything that you want to customize. You can really kind of pull this up and use it as a starting place. So from here, you can go in and apply any of your saved chart styles. I've got all of my saved chart styles here. And again, because I have apply to all selected, if I change this chart style of anything here, it's going to apply them to all of the charts in the layout. So for instance, let's say I wanted to get to something. I've got my own little naming convention here. But if I wanted to get to something that looked pretty similar to my CandleGlance view that we were looking at in the SharpCharts world, here we go. Now I've got those little mini charts and I've got that same price relative line up at the top as well. So you can apply your own chart styles to this layout. The other interesting thing is that you can change how many charts you want to see on the screen at once. So for instance, if I only wanted 9 charts on this screen instead of 12, maybe 12 is a little too bunched up for you, you can come in here and select 9, figure out whichever configuration you want, and then you can set that as your kind of CandleGlance view. Of course, all of these can be saved. As soon as you get everything set exactly the way that you want it, you just come down to the bottom here, click Save Layout, and you can save that as your own layout. So for instance, I've done that. I've created my own custom CandleGlance layout right in here. You can see it looks pretty similar to that CandleGlance view that we were looking at over in the SharpCharts world. Again, I've got that price relative line. I've got my moving averages here, the 50, the 200, and that 400 period as well. And I have used our sort of sample layout as a starting place. I've then modified that with my own indicators, saved that as something called CandleGlance. So it makes it really easy to create this, customize it, save it to your account so you can come back to it whenever you want. Now, we can also combine this. Instead of having to manually type in a list of ticker symbols up at the top, we can combine this with chart lists here in ACP in a very similar way to what we were doing over in the SharpCharts world. So we've actually just launched a brand new feature in ACP. You're seeing it for the very first time. We're calling it multi-chart view, multi-chart mode. And it is this little series of buttons right over here on the right side of the screen. So when you open up the chart lists menu, again, you have access to your chart list over on the right side of ACP. You can open that up and you'll see that you have these little buttons here right below the chart list select menu. So you select which chart list you want to see. Again, we're actually looking in this case at that same S&P 1500 new 52-week highs list. So it's going to look very similar. I created my CandleGlance view here exactly how I want to see it. I want to see 9 charts on the screen in this case. And then there's one important option that we need to take a look at, which is our load symbol only function. So everything that has been saved to this list is saved with my default ACP chart. That's actually indicated over here on the left side of the screen by the one that is starred. So if I click on one of these, it's going to pull in the saved chart style. But in this case, I've got my CandleGlance view and I don't really want to change that. I want to just pull in the ticker symbol. I don't really want to load the whole save chart because if I did, it would look something like this. In this case, you can see that chart looks quite a bit different. So I'm going to go back here. I am going to get us back to the CandleGlance view. I want all the charts to look like this, but I want to be able to flip through this chart list using these sorts of chart styles, this sort of view. So what I do there is turn on load symbol only. When you turn on load symbol only, that means that anytime you click something from this list, it's going to use the chart style of the active chart, the chart style of the space that you're trying to load that symbol into, and it's going to only load the symbol. So in this case, if I wanted ADS in this space, you can see that now, instead of loading in that sort of gray bordered chart that we've actually saved in this list, I've just loaded in the symbol. All I've pulled in is the symbol. I've kept the chart style that's sort of active. So we turn that on. That's one of the key pieces. And from there, we can now turn on our multi-chart view mode. So we give this a click, turn that little grid icon on. Again, when you have a layout open, you can turn on this little multi-chart view mode. And from here, when I click something, it's going to pull in that symbol plus all of the others to sort of fill in this layout, as many charts as it can to fill in this layout. So I'm going to click ACC. And you can see that we now have 9 charts from this chart list pulled into that layout really quickly. In this case, we've got this one highlighted because that's the active chart. But as I breeze around, if I click this one, now that sort of active chart indicator has moved around. But you can see those other 9 charts, or other 8 charts in this case, are highlighted there in blue to indicate that those are up on the screen. From here, I can click through this chart list. So you can see this has jumped me down. I've got the next 9 charts in the list. I can click again to get the next 9 charts after that. And so I can basically take that CandleGlance concept, combine it with this multi-chart view mode here in ACP with my chart lists, make sure that I got load symbol only turned on so that it's not going to sort of step on my CandleGlance view. And from there, I can just start to flip through this list. So a very similar concept of sort of breezing through a chart list here in a multi-chart layout right from ACP. This is brand new. We just rolled this out in ACP. So some of you who haven't been there in the last couple of days, you might not have even seen this. So brand new, and really makes CandleGlance start to fly. Again, I'm finding that this is great for running a scan and using this in there. Actually, we can show you how to do that here. We will run that same new 52-week highs in the S&P 1500 scan. And you'll see that when you run a scan here in ACP, we've run a save scan, got the list of results back. In this case, we have a ton. This is actually a slightly different one. This brings in a couple other groups. This is the S&P 1500 plus the large cap scooter group and the mid cap scooter group. In this case, we have 406 results in here, but you'll see that we have a very similar set of buttons there. We can turn on that multi-chart view mode and then start to flip through these scan results. So I give that a click. I'm looking at the first 9 in the list. And when I hit that arrow, I'm going to jump down to the next 9 in the list. So again, makes it really easy to sort of breeze through scan results with a multi-chart layout up on your screen. So that is pretty much it. Lots to explore. Again, there are tons of different ways to view multiple charts on your screen at once on StockCharts, whether you're in the SharpCharts world or in the ACP world. Again, check out last week's episode, which we did on gallery view. That's how you view multiple charts on the screen for the same symbol. And we can do that just like we're showing here. We can do that in SharpCharts and in ACP. Today, though, hopefully you've seen some good stuff breezing through the CandleGlance views in SharpCharts and in ACP. Showing off some new features there in ACP too with that multi-chart view mode. Combining that with layouts to really create your own CandleGlance concept, customized to exactly how you want to see it in ACP. So lots that you can do there. And again, I think CandleGlance is fantastic when you combine it with scan results. When you're running a scan and then breezing through those results with these kind of mini charts up on the screen all at one time, makes it really, really efficient to breeze through your scan results and sort of clear that out, filter those lists down, and get to the charts that you really want to focus on. So lots to unpack, lots to explore here with today's episode. I know it's been a packed one. But again, go back, check out last week's episode with gallery view, combine that with this week's episode, and you'll be multi-charting in no time. So I want to thank you for joining me again on today's show, StockCharts In Focus. Remember, we do this every Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the live channel, also up on our YouTube channel after that, and the StockChartsTV.com on-demand platform. You can go check that out, brand new. Lots to see there. You can sign up for an account at StockChartsTV.com, totally free. But that's going to allow you to kind of bookmark things, remember things. You've got some history to it, lots that you can do, and you can view that across all of your different devices. So go check out StockChartsTV.com. There's lots to see up there. I want to thank you again for joining me. My name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts. It's been great to show you around some of these CandleGlance tools. Hopefully you've gotten a lot out of this episode. I know it's been a long one, but thanks for sticking through it with me, and I will see you next week for another edition of StockCharts In Focus. Until then, chart on, my friends. Hey, Grayson Roze here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're going to bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.